I feel like the beginning of February offers, I mean, there's always unique challenges in our business. Hey, Tommy, you guys, Tommy is a rock star this month. I don't even want to tell you guys what he's done. Um, but he messaged me the other day. Tommy Pierce works 10 hours a week, and this guy's crushing it. But February offers some really, really unique um, opportunities that we don't get any other time of the year. And that's what I want to talk about this week. But first, let's go back over your last week real quick. You know, I think every week we need to look back and just kind of see where we're at, see where we're going, see how things are. That way we can make adjustments, and then we can figure out what's working or not working. All right. So how many days did you prospect last week? How many days did you get on the phone and look for new business? Raise your hand or put one in the comments. So how many listing appointments did you go on? So put them down in the comments. Let us know how many listing appointments you went on last week. How many listings did you take? Guys, these are really important numbers, because I can tell you the days that you went out and you looked for new business, the more consistent you are with your prospecting, the more consistent you will get with appointments, and the more consistent you will get with taking listings. But here's the thing. Two things happen. Remember, two things happen on every listing appointment. Number one, you get to practice your presentation, with a live prospect, Number two, sometimes you just get the listing. It's wild. Sometimes even if you're really bad, sometimes you still get the listing, right? So how many contracts did you get? Because the more listings you take, the more you prospect, the more appointments you're going to go on. The more appointments you go on, the more listings you're going to take. The more listings you take, the more contracts you're going to get, right? And then how many qualified buyers did you meet with here in the last week? And all of those things we need to track week to week. That way we can see where we are. We can just basically take the pulse of our business. So guys, let's get started here. So now the first week of February, I feel like the first week of February is just, there's a lot of opportunities and there's massive action that you need to take, because this time of year, you just don't get this type of opportunity any other time of the year. Okay, what's happening is a lot of buyers, a lot of people are out there thinking about buying, are getting their tax returns back. And a lot of these people are looking pretty hard. I mean, I can tell you this for sure. I've got people that are contacting me, God, from, I don't even remember. I don't even know how they got my number, some of them. But there are people out there, they're about to get their tax return back. And, some of these people are getting, $2,000, $5,000, $8,000 returns. Some of them need the return to make up their down payment or closing costs. They need to actually buy a house. Some need just the tax return in general so they can prove income. But this time of year, they could just start filing them like here in the last week. So then usually, depending on the service they use, it's going to take a few days to get it back. So all these people are starting to get their tax returns back, like say in the next week. And this is going to go on throughout April. But now is the time to get started. And I guarantee you, most people are not thinking about doing what I'm going to show you guys this time of year and in your market. I guarantee you that. Nobody really thinks, most people don't think creative. The ones that are calling, they're calling and they're doing just like I tell you guys all the time. They're calling, they're going, hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason Morris. Will you list your house with me? And they don't really have a plan. They get shot down 5, 10 times. Then they quit calling for the day, right? They never make enough calls for it to really be effective. So, guys, I'm going to show you. This is what I want you to do between now and next week, okay? And how many of you guys are willing to commit to me for 1 week? I'm not asking for a year. I'm asking for a 1 week commitment. And if you can't do 7 days, right? Do the amount of days you can do. If you can do 3 days, do 3 days. If you can do all 7 days, fantastic. Do all 7 days. If you can do 8 hours a day, right? I guarantee you guys, if you guys commit to what I am going to lay out here, the plan I'm going to lay out for you guys this morning, I guarantee that you will do, this could be, I don't want to say even could be, this probably will be the best week of your real estate career if you're willing to commit. I'm asking for 1 week, Tommy. I see your comment, 1 week. I'm asking for 1 week, and I'm going to make it the best week for you guys ever. So are you guys okay with that? So, you know, I don't want you guys to let me down, and I hope you're not going to let me down. I'm going to be the one that you're going to let down if you can't commit to me, right? Right? This is my one week challenge to change your business. So the number one thing I want you guys to do is I want you to go through your emails, go through your notebooks, go through your CRM, go through whatever you got to go through. And I want you to gather up every single seller lead that you possibly have. Every single seller lead, because I believe that now's the time to really go after those people. I mean, there's a time all the time, but not like there's going to be this week. And I'm going to lay out the whole plan for you here in just a second. Now, so I've got a couple of reminders here. So gather up every seller lead you have and everyone you can find. You guys know I talk about Red X all the time. The old expireds are now included in your membership at Red X. That's what they've told me. So you can get all of 2017 with your Red X subscription. And if you tell them, if you're not subscribed to Red X, you can get it today, and you can tell them that you're in my Becoming Expired Master thing, and they're doing 50% off the first month. So you can get expired, you can get for sale by owners. But go back into the expireds, get all of 2017, right? Then go back into the for sale by owners and get all of 2017. Go through all your notebooks, all your notes, all the things you've jotted down, everything you can find, and every seller that you have talked to. Ron, that's a good question. You do have to contact them to see how you import it from your MLS. Some MLSs are different, but they can tell you the fields to export and then to import. But their tech support is fantastic. Just call them and they'll be glad to walk you through the process. Oh, they gave you the instructions. Fantastic, man. So, but get every seller lead that you've talked to. Go through Craigslist. And, I've told you guys my secret Craigslist strategy. The good ones aren't the ones posting their numbers. The really, really good ones on Craigslist are the for sale by owners that aren't putting their contact information, that you got to email through the Craigslist exchange. And you email those people, and all you've put in the email is, hey, what's the best number to contact you? And unbelievably, a lot of them will send you back their number, right? And as soon as you get their number, you call them. But go through, gather up all the for sale by owner leads from Craigslist, all of them. You can go back 45 days in Craigslist. Get all of them you can get, print them out, write them down, whatever you want to do. I prefer to print them out, but that way I can make notes on them. I can throw away the bad ones. The good ones I can keep in my own little good Craigslist pile, All the for sale by owners from Zillow and the Make Me Moves. And all other sources. If you guys have ZBuyer, grab all the leads from the beginning of ZBuyer. If you guys are using, the only two I typically recommend are Red X and ZBuyer, as far as paid sources, but there's a ton of them out there. Whatever source you're using, get all the leads back to the beginning of 2017. Okay? That's not too hard, right? So now what we're going to do this week is we're going to call them all. Now, I know this probably some of you guys that messaged me on Zoom, some of you guys that was thinking you're going to commit to me on Facebook. Some of you guys just had that little pit in your stomach, like, holy shit, Jason wants us to do what? Because I'm going to tell you, you're probably, depending on your market, you might end up with 2,000 leads, right? And I mean, it's a lot. I told you this was going to be massive action. You're going to end up with like 2,000 leads. Some markets you might have 500 or 700, but still you're going to have a lot. Okay. And now here's the thing. If you don't have business, you guys that are new, that are on the call, you're trying to get going, you're trying to start your business, this is the way that you do it. You guys that are trying to get that extra little bump, push your business to the next level, you guys that are having an amazing February, and you're trying to figure out how to do it again in March, this is how you do it. You do it by taking massive action. And I'm going to walk you through this, right? Start with the people that you've talked to. Okay? And I mean, there's no way I could make this easier for you, because it's just, I'm going to lay everything out here. Now, here's what the script is. And you guys stick as close to this script. You can change it around a little bit, but don't overthink this, okay? I need you to stick as close to this script as you possibly can when you're calling them. And this is how it's going to go. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason Morris, and I'm with XYZ Realty Company. I'm calling you because right now in our market, we've got a lot of buyers getting their tax return money back. The lenders we work with also have financing programs that your home would qualify for, right? We're telling them their house is going to qualify. The buyer's got to qualify. But then, as we know, FHA, VA, a lot of these first-time homebuyer programs, the house has to qualify also, right? I'm calling you because right now in our market, we've got a lot of buyers getting tax returns. The lenders we work with also have financing that I think your house is going to qualify for. Our company's selling a lot of houses. Do you still want to sell yours, or should I take you off of my list? That's pretty simple, isn't it? That's all you got to say. Hey, Mr. Seller, my name's Jason Morris. I'm with XYZ Realty Company. I'm calling you because right now in our market, we've got a lot of buyers getting tax returns back. And the lenders we work with have financing programs that work for your house. Our company's selling a lot of houses. Do you still want to sell yours, or should I take you off of our list? Right? Nobody that wants to sell their house wants to get taken off your list. That's number one. Okay? Now, a couple of things is going to happen, and we're going to go down through what's going to happen when you tell these people this. Then we're going to go through some more scripts for you. Okay, some will say, yeah, I want to sell. And then you continue your regular script. You know, how much would you like for that? How much do you want to walk away with? You know, what kind of conditions the house in? You know, how old's the roof? How old's the HVAC? You know, all that stuff. And set an appointment ASAP. That's fantastic. Let me ask you, how much will you take for your property? Fantastic. Fantastic. Everything is fantastic, right? How old is the roof? 10 years old. That's fantastic. How old is the HVAC? 3 years old. That's fantastic. If they say 15 years old, say, is it operating good? They say yes. You go, fantastic, right? And then you go, Mr. Seller, I want to meet with you. Will Tuesday at 2 work for you? I want to meet with you about selling your house. Will Tuesday at 2 work for you? Fantastic. If they say no, say, no problem. Are you going to be at work Tuesday at 2? Do you work a regular 9 to 5 job? If they tell you yes, say, no problem. Would 6:30 work better? That way you got a chance to get home and get settled before I get there. You know, 6:30 won't work. How about Saturday? Are you working on Saturday? Right? Try to close them for an appointment 3 times, guys. 3 times on the call. Will 2 o'clock on Tuesday work for you? No. No problem. Do you work a regular 9 to 5 job? Yes, I do. How about if we plan for 6:30 on Tuesday? Will that work for you? No. No problem. Are you going to be working on Saturday? Would Saturday morning around 11 a.m. work for you? If they tell you no, put these people in your list, call them back later, right? Try to close 3 times. We need to be more aggressive than ever because there's going to be more buyers. More buyers are going to be looking in the next 60 to 90 days than any time the rest of this year. No other time of the year will more buyers be looking at houses than right now. So now that's the number one. That's the good scenario, right? And that's going to happen. You know, that's going to happen for you because you're going to make 500, 1,000, 2,000 calls. You're going to have some people that say they want to sell their house, and they are going to meet with you. Now, if you got 2,000 numbers, guys, I mean, it's not unrealistic to think that you can go through those numbers and list 1% of those in the next 60, 90 days, right? That's not unrealistic at all. What would that do for your business if next week you filtered through all the leads you got and 1 to 2% you ended up listing in the next 60 to 90 days? What would that do for your business? I'm telling you, guys, this challenge, if you commit, this will be the best week of your real estate career. Now, some people are going to tell you they don't want to sell anymore. Oh, no, we don't want to sell anymore. We changed our mind. And honestly, guys, that's going to happen, right? There's some people that, to tell you the truth, they're getting priced out of their market. If they they can sell their house today for a lot more money than what they could ever sell it for before, but then they can't really find something comparable or something they really want to move to. So that's going to happen, and some are going to tell you they don't want to sell anymore. Now, some are going to ask you, oh, do you have a buyer? You're going to get this question a lot. I like this question because this isn't a no, right? This isn't a flat out no. Do you have a buyer? And I'm going to tell you guys about that in a minute. Now, some people aren't going to answer, and you're going to have to leave a voicemail. And I'm giving you the voicemail script too, because I don't want you guys to have to guess at nothing and say, hey, God, what do I do here? I don't want you to guess with nothing. I'm even giving you the voicemail. I'm giving you the email, and I'm giving you the text message here in a little bit, right? Could I make this any easier for you without calling the people myself? Now, number 5, you're going to have some people that are going to go, damn realtors, I don't like none of them, and they're going to hang up on you, right? Worst case. That's the worst case. They tell you they don't like it, and they hang up on you. And nobody cares because they don't know you. They're not going to eat you through the phone. They're not going to find you. They're not going to recognize you in Walmart in the afternoon. You're not going to be at the dinner, and they're going to come beat you up because these people don't know you. They're not angry at you. They're angry at the situation that they're in, right? Now, do you have a buyer? This is fantastic. Do you have a buyer? Okay, now this is really the same script as if you have a buyer, I'll pay you 3% because you're going to get that too. Do you have a buyer? I'm calling you because I can say, Mr. Seller, I'm calling you because I can sell your house. Working a lot of buyers in your price range and area, Mr. Seller. However, I don't know if I have one specifically for your house because as of this call, we don't have it on the market. Then you pause a second and say, I'd like to set up an appointment with you for Tuesday at 2. You name the date and time to see if your house would work for our marketing, right? You're doing a level shift on them right here. You're going, Mr. Seller, I don't know if we have one, but I want to come out and take a look at the house to see if this works for us. Your house might not work for us, and we don't want to work for you if it don't work for us. That's the undertone of that conversation, right? I'd like to set up an appointment with you on Tuesday at 2 to see if your home would work for our marketing. Now, I'm going to tell you, you always have to state the day and time. Now, as we talked about a little bit ago, the reason you want to state the time is because if you don't, this is what a lot of agents are doing. They say, well, Mr. Seller, I'd like to come out and take a look at your house. What time would work for you? And the seller goes, oh, I don't know. I'd have to talk to my wife and get back with you. And then you basically open yourself up to another objection. And to be honest with you, most of the time they're not going to call you back, right? Hammer them down. One of my favorite phrases to use is, Mr. Seller, he said, well, I don't know if Tuesday at 2 will work. Hey, no problem. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to pencil you in right here. If something comes up, just call me and let me know. If not, I'm planning to be there Tuesday at 2. Send them your pre-listing package. You go through all the rest of the steps that I tell you to do in my coaching, right? That's one of my favorite things is they tell me, they say, well, I can't meet you at 2. Well, I don't know if I can meet you at 2. I'm not sure about 2 o'clock. Hey, no problem. What if I just pencil you in at 2? And if something comes up, you find out you can't make it, then just give me a call. If not, I'm just going to be there at 2. Right? And that's what I tell people. So now the voicemail script. Voicemail scripts need to be quick, easy, as painless as possible, because you only got a short amount of time. Now I know that voicemail gets listened to less and less in today's world. So you want to get it all out as quick and as painlessly as you possibly can. Hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason Morris with XYZ Realty Company. I'm calling about your house for sale. Can you call me back at your earliest convenience? My direct line is phone number. That number again is phone number, right? Now, the reason that you're doing this, can you call me back at your earliest convenience? My direct line is. Now, the general public has one idea of what we do. We've all seen those little memes where people go, hey, what my mom thinks I do, what public thinks I do, and what I really do. We've all seen those sort of little memes, right? This is the same thing. General public don't know that we're typically running around out there. When you talk to us, most of us don't even have office phones anymore. We all have cell phones. But I like to say, call me back on my direct line. I don't like to say, call me back on my cell phone. Call me back on my direct line. I believe that that phrase, can you call me back at your earliest convenience? My direct line is, my direct number is, right? Because some people think that, agents still sit in the office all day, and you call in a main number and you talk to a secretary and or an office administration person, and then get passed around all over the place. But that isn't really the way it works. But I want you to know that you have my direct number. Think about that. Think about that when somebody tells you that. Hey, Steve, I want you to call me, and call me on my direct number. Makes it sound like it's really important. That's the voicemail that you want to send. That's the voicemail you want to leave. It's call me back on my direct line. Call me back on my direct number, right? Now, what do you do with the ones you can't get on the phone? Because I know there's some of you guys that are thinking this right now. Well, gosh, there's a lot of people that I just can't seem to get on the phone, and I just can't. I'm just not going to be able to get, right? And there are going to be, typically I find that overall when I'm making calls is you get about 1 out of 8, 1 out of 9 people on the phone, right? If you're calling for sale owners, usually it's a little bit better than that. But if you can't get them on the phone, you need to text and email, because this is the week that we're going to take massive action, right? Every one of these people you want to make at least a solid attempt to get in contact with them. Every single lead you got, right? And this doesn't mean you can't do this again in a month, 2 months, right? It just means you're doing it this week. Think about it, guys. If you guys done this every single month, you went through all of your leads, like every single lead you could possibly find one time a month, how would that really change your business? This strategy right here is the thing that took me from being like a regular just listing agent to like the top listing agent in every single company I've worked for. So now the text. This is the text. And I don't like doing these mass text, because when somebody texts you back, you really don't know who it is, and you're kind of lost, right? So in the text, all your for sale owners you should be doing this with, text, is your home still for sale at, and I like to put in the address. That way I know I got at least a good idea who's texting me back, right? If the seller says yes, your next response is, what is a good time to call you? That's all. Now remember, you're not going to list their house through a text message. I know that we all have that dream that we're going to sit on our couch watching TV, eating potato chips, texting people, and we're going to list the hell out of houses. I'm going to tell you, you're not going to list the house in a text message. Believe me, if I could figure out how to list them in text messages, I'd been doing it by now for sure. Now, what you can do in a text message is you can set an appointment for a phone call, right? Because that phone call is going to be one of the most powerful things that's the most powerful communication that you can have with somebody is a phone call, right? Other than face to face. So what is a good time to call you? Let them respond. If they tell you 2 o'clock, you do everything that you can possibly do to call them at 2 o'clock on the dot, right? And leave them the message. Hey, this was Jason Morris. You told me to call. If they don't answer, this is Jason Morris. You told me to call you back at 2. I'm calling you. Then you hang up the phone. You send them another text. Hey, I just called you and didn't get you. And typically, you guys know how it is when you text somebody, hey, I just tried to call you, I didn't get you. Typically, they call you right back, you know. So now email. So I see a lot of agents do this too. They send out these emails, these 3-page emails telling you all about, hey, our company's fantastic, blah, blah, blah. We sold this. We're special, all this stuff. And they're really, really self-serving emails. And really the only purpose you're having is you want to know if the home is still for sale. So your email, all it needs to say, doesn't need to have 30 questions, doesn't need to tell your whole bio and your whole story. It doesn't need to be 3 pages long. It doesn't need to be all this stuff. You put in the subject line, you put their home address if you have it. If you don't, then put something that identifies with the house that you have details of. And then in the body of the email, you put, is your home still for sale at blank? Now, okay, I think that every one of these things you got to send individual. Don't use one of these big email spam companies, because what's going to happen, you need to take your signature line, guys. This is a tip that I'm going to give you. A lot of these real fancy signature lines with pictures and stuff that look special, once that email gets marked with spam like 4, 5, 6 times, Google is so damn smart. Gmail is so smart that it knows that picture that you have, that you spent all this time putting together, it knows that picture is associated with spam. So every email that you send with that picture at the bottom, once it gets marked spam, it's going to start going to people's spam folders, right? I mean, this is what's happening in today's world when you're sending, you're sending unsolicited emails, but at the same time, this is what's happening, I promise you. And it's happened to a lot of people. So make it real simple. Make your signature line real simple. Don't try to list it in the email. That's it. So now, guys, I want you to be aware of every single scenario, because like I said a little bit ago, I don't want you to think this week. I just want you to go out and do. Can you guys do that? Raise your hand if you think that's possible, or do the little heart there on Facebook. Do you think it's possible for you guys just not to think, just do what I'm telling you to do? Will you do that for me? I mean, how easy is that? You don't have to think about nothing. You don't have to fill in the guidelines. We're going to have question and answer time, and I'm going to answer all your questions here in a few minutes that you have or don't have or whatever. So remember, ask me your questions dealing with this, because like I said, I don't want you to think about it, right? So 5 things I want you to be aware of during this massive action week, right? The number one thing, because I know somebody's going to tell me this. Somebody is going to say, well, I can't get nobody on the phone. And I'm going to say, well, how many calls did you make? And they're going to tell me they made 10. Or they're going to tell me they made 20. Now, guys, you're not going to get everybody on the phone. Making 10 calls is not enough. You need to call every single lead you have. Now, and we're talking about hundreds of leads, right? If you don't have enough on Facebook, if you don't have enough I forgot about Facebook Marketplace. God, Facebook Marketplace is another free one that's fantastic. Okay, but here's the thing. Making 10 calls isn't going to be enough. If you make 10 calls, then you're going to probably get like one person on the phone. Now, we know from from back in December, we done some surveys. Remember, we done the December challenge, and we know from back in December that it took 23.6 conversations to get one listing appointment, right? And if you're getting every 8 people you get on the phone, every 9 dials you make, you're gonna get one person on the phone. Overall average, right? Amanda, that's right. 10 is just the warm up. 10 is the warm up calls. So every 23.6 calls you make, 23.5, somewhere in there is almost 24 calls. Let's just say 24 for today. Every 24 calls you make where you talk to a live person on the phone, you're going to set one appointment. And if let's just say 10, right? Every 10 calls, you get one person to answer. Now, it's going to be a little less than that with for sale owners normally. So you're going to need to make roughly about 225, 250 calls to set one appointment. If you run out of numbers before next Thursday, start back over with your list, right? But I guarantee you guys, if you guys go through the expireds, go through the for sale owners, go through everybody you can, everybody you've got, everybody you talked to last year, all the Zillow, all the Craigslist, all the Facebook Marketplace, all that stuff, you should have like a couple thousand to work with. So, but making 10 calls isn't enough. So you're going to have to make roughly 200 dials to set one appointment. Now, 200 dials, I'm going to tell you guys this, 200 dials isn't that big of a deal. 200 dials, if you're dialing from your cell phone, no dialer, you can make about 45, 50 calls an hour without a whole lot of trouble. Okay. Now this is really staying on top of it. This isn't, you make 3 calls and you talk to your friend for 20 minutes, you log on Facebook, you chat, I would recommend you don't log into Facebook while you're making calls, right? It's just going to be a distraction for you. Now, and that's just dialing without a dialer. You're going to be able to dial about 45, 50 calls a minute. So to make 200 calls, you're going to need to call 3 to 4 hours a day, 4 hours a day. With a dialer, you might be able to get through, like a one-line dialer, you're going to be able to get through 60, 70 calls an hour, maybe 80 calls an hour, just depending on how many people pick up the phone, right? It's just going to speed you up a little bit, probably like 1.5 to 2 times speed you up. And the reason being is because the dialer is not going to hesitate before dialing the next call. If you're using a 3-line dialer, that 250 dials, you can probably get through within 2 hours with no problems, So your conversations need to be quick. This is one thing I've learned about real estate agents. Now, I've done some role playing a while back with you guys. It was live, and it's in my group coaching and stuff. If you look back through the archives in the group, you can find those calls. And one of the things I can tell you that a lot of agents do, a lot of new agents especially, number one is they never stick to the script, and you got to stick to the script, right? Because if you ask the same questions over and over, you're going to get the same answers. Now, when you go away from that script, what's going to happen is your conversation is going to wander, and you're going to be in basically the unknown zone, right? Where some of you guys, you don't know what you're going to say next, and you don't know what the seller's going to say next. If you stick to the script, your conversation is going to be focused, and it's going to be quick to the point. The longer your conversation is, the less likely you're going to set the appointment on the call. Just like I've told you guys this before, I've told you guys my story about my 2-hour listing appointments. And the thing I learned was the shorter my appointment is, the more likely I was going to get the listing. The more I stayed focused, the more I stayed on task, the better the listing appointment was going to go. The calls are the same way. Conversation needs to be quick. It needs to be quick, to the point, focused. There's no need. You don't need to know about their kids. You don't need to know what kind of dog they have. You don't need to know when they move or they taking their cat. None of that stuff's important for this call. What is important is, do they want to sell their house? If you're using my script, in which you guys need to be using my script because my scripts are easy, right? Are they wanting to sell their house? How soon would they like to sell it? How much do they want for it? What's the condition? Can I meet you on Tuesday? That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know to set an appointment. You don't need to know where they're moving next. That's not really that important. You don't need to know what the name of their cat is. You don't need to know what college their grandkids going to. You don't need to know any of those things for this conversation. Your only purpose on the call is to gather information, gauge how motivated they are, get a price, set an appointment. That's it. That's it. I mean, how easy is that, guys? So, guys, and this is the thing too. You have to ask for the appointment. On every single call, you have to ask for the appointment. They are not going to give you the appointment without you asking for it. If you ask for it, then you really got a 50-50 shot. They could say yes, they could say no. Now, the thing that a lot of agents do is they ask one time on the call. They say, "Oh, Mr. Seller, will you let me come out, take a look at your house?" The seller goes, "No." And then they say, "Oh, okay," and they hang up the phone. Now, on these calls this week, I want you to get really aggressive because I want you to ask 3 times. So have any of you, well, let me put this like this. What do you think about asking 3 times? And let me know what your thoughts are. Have you ever done it where you ask 3 times, right? "Hey, Mr. Seller, I'd like to come out and meet you. Take a look at your house. Will Tuesday at 2 work for you?" "Oh, no, Tuesday at 2 that's not a good time." "Oh, no problem. Do you work from 9 to 5? "Oh, yeah, I work a regular job." Or they might say, no, but typically they're going to say no, and then they feel obligated to give you a reason. "No, I got a doctor's appointment." "Oh man, I hope everything's okay." Gosh, I tell you what, I know you got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday afternoon. I know how those things are sometimes. You never know how long they're going to last. What about Wednesday? Would Wednesday afternoon, same time, 2 o'clock, work for you better? Or would a morning appointment be good for you? Right? They say, "Oh, Wednesday's not good either. Wednesday's not good either." You know what? I understand how the week is sometimes. Look here, I'm going to be in your area. I'm going to be in your area anyway on Saturday. I could meet you at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Would 11 o'clock work for you better? Right? Have you ever asked for the appointment 3 times? Because that's what you're going to do. It's uncomfortable. I can tell you that. Yeah, you're right, Virginia. It is uncomfortable. But here's the thing. If you want to push to the next level and take your business to the next level, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. The worst thing that's going to happen is they say no, 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 and you hang up the phone, right? That's it. And it's going to get more comfortable. After you do this 5 or 6 times, that first 2 or 3 calls is going to be rough. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's going to be rough, those first 2 or 3 calls, if you had never done this before. But after 10 calls, 15 calls where you went 3-time close, some of you guys are going to set so damn many appointments next week, you're not going to know where to put them in your schedule. That's going to be a problem that you're going to have. Now, the worst thing that's going to happen on these calls is somebody's going to hang up the phone with you. Somebody's going to hang up the phone on you. Say, "Oh, I don't like you realtors." Click. Ain't no big deal. No big deal. You know what my favorite response is? They go, "Oh, I don't like realtors." "I don't like realtors either, but you do want to sell your house, don't you?" That's my favorite response to these people. But the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody hangs up the phone on you or cancels an appointment. And either way, honestly, if they cancel, they call you up and say, "Hey, I can't meet you Tuesday at 2. No problem. No problem. I hate we can't meet Tuesday at 2. I got some time in my schedule on Thursday. Would that work better for you?" If they cancel with you, you ask for another appointment. The problem a lot of agents have is the person calls you, and the problem a lot of agents have is the person calls you up to cancel the appointment, and they say, "Oh, okay, well, how about if I call you back tomorrow and we set something back up?" Why are you going to call them back tomorrow when you got them on the phone already? It doesn't make sense. Reschedule the appointment right then. Now, if they're canceling with you through text, like Becky just said on Facebook, if they're canceling through text, they've been canceling through text. Okay, here's what I like to do with that person. They send me a text and they say, "Hey, I have to cancel on you." No problem. I will be in your area on Thursday. I've got another appointment at 12. I can meet you before or after. Which one would work for you? Right? If they're canceling through with you through text, you text them back and set up another appointment. And here's the thing, guys. I mean, we're all the same. We talk about this a lot. Everybody's always the same. Sometimes people cancel on you, and as agents, some of us, it kind of hurts our feelings. We're like, oh man, they canceled on me. Gee, I should have done better. Or we all of a sudden we start blaming ourselves. I mean, it's easy to do, you know, but here's the thing. Sometimes something really come up in their life where they had to cancel on you. Hey, I had it happen to me. I got a guy that works with me in our market, and he asked me to go to lunch with him the other day. And to be honest with you, I wanted to go to lunch with him. He wanted me to go to this amazing Mexican restaurant. I mean, I want to go to the restaurant with or without him. But but at the same time, like, man, I had to cancel, and I didn't really want to, and I want to reschedule with him, but we just hadn't rescheduled, and just stuff come up. I'm sorry. I just couldn't make it. At least I canceled early on him. I didn't cancel on him while he's sitting there waiting on me. But stuff happens sometimes, and all of us have been in that situation where you've had to cancel on somebody. And this is the same thing. Sometimes you just got to cancel. Now, the last thing I want to remind you guys of is when you're making calls, I think you should have your MLS up and open, and I think you should have your calendar open. I don't think you should have Facebook open. I think you should have your dialer, whatever your lead source is, your notebook, you got them wrote down in, whatever it is. I think you should have that open, your calendar and MLS. Because sometimes, and I know for a lot of new agents, if you're not real familiar in your MLS, you need to spend a little bit more time in there getting good at, looking things up, looking neighborhoods up, doing radius searches around addresses, things like that. I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, most of you guys, you're listening to me on Zoom or Facebook, you're somewhat tech savvy at least. But get familiar with your MLS. That way you can open them up. You kind of look at it really easy. You get a good idea of what they're worth, and you can kind of ballpark things, right? Now, I believe the active pricing strategy, like we've all talked about, I think that's the way that makes sense and the easiest way to explain pricing to a seller. But guys, I tell you what, I got some time for question and answers, and I want to answer all your questions because I don't want you guys to have questions when you get started. So let's see here. Yeah, I tell you what, I'll post the slides. I'll print it out in a PDF and I'll post it for you guys. That way you have the scripts and stuff, and I understand if you're driving down the road or something. Now, yeah, Karina, you're right. It's a numbers game. The more you ask for an appointment, the more chances you got. Denise asked if after the text cancellation they don't respond anymore. Try following up at some different times. Try the afternoon, try the morning. Try the weekend. I will tell you, sometimes I do like to call from a different number. They've canceled on me, and they're not answering any of my calls. Sometimes I like to call from my Google Voice instead of my regular number. Call from your office line instead of your regular number. But you ask, what if the seller is quoting a crazy price? Still set the appointment and discuss the price there, or not even set the appointment. You know what? I think you should set the appointment, and I think you should do research. I think you should set the appointment, do some research, and I think that every time you do this, you need to make a business decision, right? And the decision is where's the best place for a sign, in front of their house or in the trunk of your car? And I always felt like it was in front of their house. Now, and here's the reason why I say this, especially in today's market, is because prices are going up all over the country. There's not a lot of flat markets out there. Some of you guys are in flat markets, but still make an educated decision. Now, the biggest problem I see, Virginia, agents do is they look at the solds. And a lot of agents only look at the solds from that one community. I had an agent tell me the other day, they said, oh, well, the last house to sell in here sold a year ago and it was priced at such and such. And you go, are you serious? Because our market has moved up tremendously. And I like to price based on active competition, right? It's like if you want to buy bed sheets and you go to JCPenney, they don't have the bed sheets you want for the price you want to pay. Then you have just a couple of different options. You can either wait until they go on sale, or you get to another store, or you can up your price, right? A serious buyer is the same way in our market right now. If the house they want, the type of home they want is not available in the area they want to live in, they've got three choices. They wait until one goes on sale, which we know when a house goes on sale, it's probably not in the best condition. Okay. They can wait until one goes on sale. They can go to a different area. It might not be the school district they want. It might not be down the road from mom and dad that keeps the kids, every weekend. Might be a little bit inconvenient. They could adjust what they're looking for, but most people have a minimum, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or whatever it is. Most people kind of have a minimum they're looking for. Or they go back to the lender and see if they could maybe get approved for, instead of getting approved for 125, maybe they get approved for 150, see if they can up their amount. So that's the only way. So I like to take that listing and I like to really research it. Like sometimes that seller has pull up the old MLS listing, see what's on there. Sometimes they didn't tell you that they've got a sunroom, and they didn't tell you they got the room above the garage. Because some agents like to count the room above the garage as a bedroom, some don't. You know what I mean? But make sure that you're comparing, you're really comparing houses. And sometimes, I've told this story several times. I listed a house this a while back. It was $99,000. When you pulled up the neighborhood, it looked like my house was grossly overpriced. But when you pulled up a 1 mile or 2 mile radius, or you pulled up the school district it was in, my house was like the second or third lowest priced house in the area. So what happened? That $79,000 house sold, and the cheaper houses sold. And 60 days, I had the cheapest house in the area by like $25,000. So where my listing looked like it was overpriced the day I signed the paperwork with them, the day that it went under contract, it looked like it was the best priced home in the neighborhood. And there's a lot of your markets with the inventory crunch that you're going to see scenarios just like that over and over again. So be mindful. Like sometimes you have to look at the long game. I know as agents, we want to put it on the market today and want to have multiple offers over the weekend so we can get paid, right? But that can't always be your strategy, Virginia. Sometimes the strategy is, hey, we pulled up a 2 mile radius. We pulled up 3-bedroom, 2 baths with a 2-car garage. And it looks like, we're the fifth, there's 10 available and we're like number 6, but ours has hardwood floors. Ours has a new roof. Ours is on a pond. You know what I mean? How is that house better than those 6 that are cheaper than them? Right? How does that house really compare? Because I'll tell you this, man, most of us I'd pay a little bit more money for hardwood floors over carpet. I think carpet's gross, that's just my personal opinion, but I'd pay a little more money for hardwood floors. I'd probably pay a little more money for if it's a 20-year-old neighborhood, but this one's got a new roof and new HVAC, heck yeah, I'd pay a little bit more money for that. Hey, it's on a pond and it's on a beautiful pond, you know what I mean? And all the other ones are, they're $10,000 cheaper, but this one's on the pond. I want to be on the pond. It's going to change my payment, $30-$40 a month, So, does that make sense to you guys? I want to make sure that I answer these questions. So, For FISBOs you never spoken with, if they won't set an appointment, how long before you try again? Becky, sometimes if we have somewhat of a meaningful conversation, I'll try to set an appointment 2 or 3 days later. But you got to call them, and you have to call them, and you have to follow up with like useful information. Like you want to have that initial call. They tell you they're kind of motivated. They tell you they want to sell it. They tell you give you a price. They won't set an appointment with you, right? Maybe they're kind of a little mean with you. They're like rah, 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 on the phone, right? So you hang up, you call back 2 days later, and you're like, hey, this is Jason Morris. We talked a couple of days ago about your house. Look here, I've been doing some research in your area for buyers, because that's always your line. I'm doing some research for buyers. Now look here, I know you want $150,000 for your house. That's what you told me on the phone. Look here, if we put your house on the market today, I want to call you because one down the street just went under contract. So if we put your house on the market today, you want $150,000 for it, you're going to be the lowest price one in the area, right? You want to follow up with some sort of useful information. Hey, you told me the other day that your house had this, this, and this, and you guys wanted to do this, right? This is why you keep good notes, because that information is valuable. You guys told me this, this, and this about your house, and that you guys want to do this. Look here, I was doing a little bit of research, and guys, I can sell your house. And if we put it on the market right now, this is going to happen. So in all your follow-up, do that. And Denise, I'll tell you what exactly is the week challenge. The week challenge was to take all of your leads, and the replay will be available, to take all of your leads, all your seller leads, all your expires from 2017, all your for sale owners from 2017, all your stuff. Go back through. I want you to call them all here in the next week. I want you to call them all before Thursday. I want you to message me. I want you to tell you, man, what problems you're having. I want you to tell me what you need to do, and I just don't want you to let me down. Is that cool? You know, if you can call 7 days, you know, every day between now and next Thursday, that is amazing. That's actually unbelievable. If you can't call but 3 days, call 3 days. You know, if you can't call but 2 hours after work every day because you got a full-time job, call the 2 hours after work. Really push hard to get through every single number you can, right? Now, best times to call. Now, that's Virginia, I'll tell you, that's like a trick question. Okay, so that's like a trick question. Okay, because here's the thing. I'll tell you guys, and I'll use me as an example. Okay, no, don't worry about that. But yeah, I want to use me as an example, because I think that my life and my situation, sometimes I do have a lot of unique things in my business and my businesses and stuff. But one of the things about it is that for me to make calls, it has to be the first thing I do in the morning. It has to be I can't let other things get in my way. I have to start at 8 o'clock. I have to start at 8 o'clock and go to 10, 11, right? If I decide I'm going to start till 9, what's going to happen is at 8 o'clock, somebody's going to call me. Something's going to happen. All of a sudden, I got something to do, and I just never get started. I know there's a lot of agents that say, hey, I want to start in the afternoon. And here's the problem with starting in the afternoon. Now, ideally, I'll tell you guys, 5:30, 7:30, you're going to get a lot of people on the phone. Everybody's off work. You get a lot of people on the phone that you hadn't got on the phone before, too. So don't be afraid to mix up your times a little bit. But I will tell you guys this. I know a lot of you guys have kids. A lot of you have significant others. A lot of you have just stuff. If I said, hey, I'm going to make calls from 5:30 to 7:30 today, it will never happen in my schedule, Virginia. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to get home. I'm going to get home about 5:30. I like to be home about 5:30. I'm going to get home about 5:30. Laura's home. Our baby, you know, she's been with the baby all day, right? I'm going to play with the baby a little bit. We're going to, eat dinner about 6. I'm going to play the baby, watch TV, do some other stuff, and it just isn't going to happen because life's going to get in the way. And that's just the way it is. So that's why I schedule it from 8 to 10, 8 to 11, right? And that's why I tell other agents to schedule that time. The best time to call is the time that you can hold yourself accountable to call, And a lot of the agents that say, hey, I'm going to wait till afternoon to call, that afternoon just never comes just because of those life things. They got kids. They got to pick up the kids from school. They got baseball practice or football practice or ballet or whatever it is going on. And, then by the time that you get all that stuff out of the way where you can make calls at 6 o'clock, man, you're just exhausted. You're mentally exhausted. I'll tell you guys, Thursdays, I usually have 3 or 4 calls. I try to set up all my coaching stuff for Thursdays. So it's like 3 to 4 hours of me literally talking, like straight through. And it's different than making 3 or 4 hours of phone calls. And man, some days by the time when I get home 5:30, 6 o'clock, I am like mentally, I'm dead to the world, Um, yeah, Becky asked, I know you're not quite there, Jason, but any advice for mindset or things you are in charge of, kid drop off and before school prep? I'll tell you, at some point we're going to get there. We're only, uh, Parker, she's 7 months old, and I know that some point we're going to get there. And, here's the thing with your schedule too. If you got to drop the kids off at 8 o'clock in the morning for school, you can't really start making calls at 8 o'clock in the morning, but you can start making calls at 8:30. Now, what I would do if I were you guys, you have to treat it like a job. And I know, like, we like to think of ourselves as entrepreneurs and all that stuff, but here's the thing: if you're an entrepreneur and your business has one employee, it's you. And you got to stay on top of that employee. That's the best way for me to put it, right? If you did have another employee and they didn't show up when they were supposed to, you'd be upset, right? You have to treat yourself with that same attitude. So what you got to do is, if you do have that morning appointment where you got to drop kids off or whatever it may be at 8 o'clock and you can't get started till 8:30, then the thing is, you can't go run 2 hours of errands before you go home and make calls at your dining room table. And I don't think there's anything wrong with making calls at your dining room table when you're home by yourself. I'll tell you guys the truth. Sometimes, I think if you're in a really busy office, you might be better to make calls at home at your dining room table while nobody's there during the day, right? Because sometimes I'll tell you, some of the biggest distractions I've ever had being in a larger office was my office. I'd go in, everybody want to chat with me, everybody want to hang out and talk about what you're doing and not doing and what happened last weekend and stuff. And next thing you know, you spent 2 hours talking about nothing with people that aren't going to buy or sell a house with you, And but I think that you have to have that mentality that, hey, I got to get to work. Hey, kids, push him out the car. I got to get to work. I think you have to have that mentality. And then after you make your calls, then you go do whatever you got to do, run your errands, do whatever, go to the grocery store, whatever it is. Because, if you let that stuff get in the way of these are your income producing activities. So you just have to stay on top of those things. These are the things that are, prospecting is the lifeblood of your business. Lead generation is the lifeblood of your business. Once your leads get cut off, then sooner or later you're going to be out of business, right? It's just like a store. Once a gas station quits ordering gas, it ain't going to be long and they're going to be run out and they're going to be out of the gas selling business. We're the same way as real estate agents. Once we take and get to the point that we don't have new leads coming in and we're not looking for new leads, it's only a matter of time before we don't have any buyers or sellers to work with. So guys, I appreciate you guys being on the call today. Hey, if I can help you, if I talk to you about, if I said something in the call, later on today, you got a question or something, message me through Facebook. I'm glad to help you. I truly believe that if you guys stick with the plan that I laid out here for you this week, this will be the best week of your real estate career. I promise you, if you stick with this plan. If you're struggling, you're trying to figure out how to get over the hump, the way you get over the hump is massive action, just like what I talked about. If you had that amazing February, like I know Tommy Pierce did, if you had that amazing February and you're trying to figure out how to make March the same way, and that's what you should be doing, right? You shouldn't take your foot off the gas. If you had an amazing January, You got an amazing February with closings. The worst thing you can do is take your foot off the gas. You know, so guys, if I can help you, just let me know. And I hope you guys have a great day. I got Becoming an Expired Master. I got the 4th week coming up at 1 o'clock. And the Becoming a Prospecting Master group with Red X. And if I can help you guys, just let me know. You have a great day.